I love this work so much, and I really want to progress.
Can't help that.
But I can slip into frustration.
That's all right. Human.
And
That's not an insult. That was just a label.
And sometimes I listen to Abraham long enough to know that when I start to get frustrated, okay, you got to go general.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I get a little muddled between the discipline that I need to be a deliberate focuser and efforting, because I'm kind of used to efforting.
We think both of those words are pretty close to the same thing. Discipline, our friend talked about it earlier, making himself do something that he doesn't really want to do.
Right.
And it's just going about it the hard way. And so the answer again is do your best to get the energy moving before and then follow the inspiration. Or pick a subject where the energy is already moving. If you were in a position, we're talking to all of you here, if you were in a position where you could lay out 10 possibilities of things that you might do right now, and some of them are accomplishing things like clean out a drawer, clean out the garage, or do some work about this, or get a massage, or take a walk on the beach, or call someone you really enjoy talking to. Do you really think that any of you would have a difficult time if you were in a place where there were no demands being made, no one was expecting anything of you, you just got to purely choose what felt better to you? Do you think you would have any difficulty deciding which of those things you wanted to do? So we've established the fact that there are times when you can choose what you want to do, and then there are times when you feel like you have to choose what you need to do. Just stuff you need to do. If you have to pick up the kids from school, you can't say, pick up the kids or get a massage. Pick up the kids or get a massage. I think I'll get a massage and let them learn that they create their own reality. There are those responsible things that you feel like you must do. And in fact, the path of least resistance in that case would not be to go get a massage. The path of least resistance would be to go get your children, yes? Yes. In most cases. So we really do not encourage doing something that you're not lined up with. We encourage lining up with it and then doing it, or lining up with not doing it and not doing it, but don't not line up with it and do it, and don't not line up with not doing it and not do it. In other words, it's the lining up that matters. And so it is about focus. It is about focusing into what feels best. And from our perspective, the focus wheel really is the fastest path to lining up with it. But sometimes you wait until you're right up against choices when there's really not time to do anything except do the thing that's already been established. And then after a while, you start feeling resentful because it feels to you that your life is full of things that you need to do rather than full of things that you want to do. And so how does one bring themselves to the place of wanting to do the things that they need to do? Wanting to do the things that they need to do. Now that's tricky. We don't really want you to want to do the things that you need to do. We want you to want to do the things that you want to do, and we want you to want to do the things that you need to do. We want them to be no more needs. We want it to be all want. We want it to be desire, not need. We want it to be action, not reaction. We want you to be inspired to it, which means we want you to be in the receptive mode, which means we want you to get out there ahead of it. But before you can get out there ahead of it, sometimes you have to sort of do what you need to do. But after a while, if you've been pre-paving and you've been meditating and you've been reaching for the thoughts that feel best, you can get out ahead of it so that you're in the receptive mode and then in the receptive mode and then it doesn't feel like effort. This can turn around for you and turn around for you very fast when you realize that it's like the difference between, let's say that you're standing and you have a desire to be downstream about 15 miles and you have a desire to be down there relatively fast, and you're standing on a little island and there are two rivers that have sort of converged here and they're forking off and they're both going basically downstream where you want to go, and this one is hardly moving, but there's a rowboat with paddles, and this one is really moving, and there's a canoe with some paddles. And so you think, well, I really probably should paddle because I'll get more exercise, and that's more diligent. I wouldn't want anybody to think that I'm taking the easy way. You don't want to admit it, but that's sort of what's locked up in so many of you. You feel uncomfortable about taking the easy way. But we want you to know that if again and again you will take the faster current, and the faster current is always the one with least resistance. Again and again, if you will take the faster current, before long, only the faster current will be offered up to you as a choice. It's only your belief in struggle that makes those choices come into the mix. You can reach this place where every idea is a good idea. You can reach this place where it really will be a series of 10 things that all sound wonderful, and it's just a matter of picking the one that delights you the most right here and now. It will move from the feeling of discipline to the feeling of natural momentum in a very short period of time, if you will trust these things. If you will trust that law of attraction and momentum are the same word. And if you will trust that your guidance system is showing you where the momentum to what you want is. If you will trust that your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to everything that you want, and knows the most delightful way to get you there, and is inspiring that most delightful way all the way, you see. This perhaps is the statement that will connect with you in the strongest way, given the way you worded the question as we began here today. Your inner being will never guide you toward the most efforting way. Your inner being will never say, well, there are many easy ways, but we want you to take this way because you'll learn a lot. Your inner being is never saying, you've been pretty lazy for a while, and a little suffering would do you some good, so follow this path. Your inner being is always lighting up the most delightful, most satisfying, most intoxicating, most life-giving, breath-inspiring way. Always that's what's lighting up for you. So we think for a little while, we don't usually give assignments, but we're going to give one to you. For a little while, if we were standing in your physical shoes, when we felt inclined to effort our way towards something, we're going to ask you to stop and say, there must be a softer, more satisfying, easier way. There must be a softer, more satisfying way of greater ease. There just must be a way of greater ease. One day, Esther was trying to reconcile some hospital bills, and she knew that everything was paid. She knew that because she'd been there. But the bill was several $100,000. So she sat with her daughter Tracy to reconcile her receipts and her timelines against what the hospital was showing. So they sat there all day comparing. It was a mess. And Tracy kept saying, Mom, just let me call him. And Esther said, no. We have to make sure that we know what we're talking about. We have to make sure that all of our T's are crossed and all of our I's are dotted. We need to make sure that we know exactly what we're talking about, or we'll just start another whole mess off into being. So they sat there for another hour and another hour and another hour and another hour. And they sort of struggled with it and couldn't make sense of it, and made this work and made this work. And Tracy said, Mom, just let me call them. And Esther said, no, we have to be sure of what we're doing before you call. So then it's the next morning. They're doing it again. And Tracy says, Mom, I'm going to call them. Esther's listening. Hello, this is Tracy. Yes, I'm calling on behalf of Esther. Mm-hmm. Could you please tell me what the balance on this account is? 0? Oh, thank you very much. So they were going to end up at the same place. Esther was just going about it in a much harder, much more unnecessary way. And these options are available to you at all times. We encourage you, take the easiest option. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.